To me, the most beautiful word in the dictionary is tariff.
It's the most beautiful word in the dictionary. You have other words that are damn nice like love, but I tell you, I think it's more beautiful than love, the word tariff.
I'm telling you, the most beautiful word in the dictionary is the word tariff.
So it's no secret that President-elect Donald Trump is a strong advocate for the use of tariffs. If you tuned in to his rallies, interviews, or town halls, you would most likely hear him talking about the most beautiful word in the dictionary, which is tariffs. And when Trump would talk about his tariffs and about other countries paying their fair share, the reaction from the crowd would be pretty good. But here's the thing, the main issue in the past election was the economy, meaning many Americans were not satisfied with the economy and the inflation under the Biden administration. And people have a right to be upset about that because the inflation and unaffordability was just not acceptable. So it makes sense that the economy is the #1 issue in this past election because we all want to move forward from that. Donald Trump believes that the proper use of tariff could be the savior for our economy and make our country rich again.
This country can become rich with the proper use of tariffs.
But the outcome of these tariffs are yet to be seen until they are implemented, if they are even implemented. Regardless, I want you to take a look at this. The search volume for the term "what is a tariff" exploded before and after the election. Needless to say, many people are confused on the subject of what is a tariff and the implications of tariffs on our economy. So today I'm going to cover Trump's tariff plan, the benefits, the drawbacks, and my prediction. First things first, what is a tariff? A tariff is a tax on imported goods from another country. As an example, let's say that a Nissan Altima costs $25,000 and it's made in Japan. If there is a 10% import tariff, then there's a $2,500 tax if you want to bring the Altima into the United States to sell it. So why do we do this? What's the purpose? The idea is that if foreign products are more expensive, US consumers are more likely to buy products that are made inside the US. Because there aren't tariffs on our own goods, it would be cheaper than paying for the foreign good. Tariffs also incentivize foreign companies to invest into the United States to make their products here. This does two things for us. It builds our infrastructure and it creates more US jobs. All good things for our economy. So while explaining what tariffs are, I went ahead and explained the benefits of them. Theoretically, tariffs should lead to domestic manufacturing growth, job creation, and increased tax revenue for the US. So because of these benefits, Trump is heavily in favor of the use of these tariffs to boost our United States economy. Here is his tariff plan in a nutshell. Trump plans to implement a 10 to 20% tariff on all imported goods that enter the United States. This means any foreign country that exports goods to the United States will be subject to a hefty tariff. He also talks about an aggressive 60% tariff on specifically Chinese exports, with his rationale being that China is stealing hundreds of thousands of US manufacturing jobs. Overall, he believes that there are immense benefits to implementing all of these tariffs. But these benefits don't come for free. There are costs and drawbacks to using tariffs. So what we really need to go ahead and figure out is if the benefits outweigh the costs. Think about this for a second. 97% of clothing that we purchase here in the US is not made here, meaning it is imported from another country. Why is that? Is it because the quality in China or India or Vietnam is much better than what we can produce here? No, it's because they have an immense competitive advantage in manufacturing. Think about Nike clothes, for example. Most, if not all, is made in a country like Vietnam. This is because it is way cheaper to make clothes in this country than it would be in the US. As horrible as it is, some people in these countries make a couple bucks an hour, which allows Nike to save on their costs, sell their clothes to us for a lower price while maintaining a good profit margin. And that's not all. The resources, supply chain, and manufacturing are all better and more established in these other countries than they are here. So a 10% tariff is not going to make Nike move their manufacturing to the United States. So that what? They can pay for more expensive labor, resources, and logistics? No way. I think they're going to go ahead and stay in their Vietnam, Bangladesh, India, China. But guess what that 10% tariff does? That 10% tariff will just make Nike clothes 10% more expensive. And what do we call rising prices? You guessed it, inflation. And here's the most important part of this entire video. Who pays for the tariff? Does Vietnam pay? Does Nike pay? Who pays? You and me. Let me break it down for you. Let's say Nike imports a Nike Dunk Low from Vietnam. Nike makes roughly $20 profit on a $100 shoe, meaning their cost is around $80 and they sell the shoe for $100. If there is a 10% tariff, Nike will need to pay an $8 tax to the government. If Nike continues to sell their dunks for $100, Nike's profit will go down from $20 to $12. In order for Nike to maintain their profit margin of $20, they will raise the cost of dunks from $100 to $108, which essentially means the 10% tariff or tax is paid by anyone who wants to buy the shoes. And that person who wants to buy the shoes or the clothes is us, the American consumers. So now that I've covered what tariffs are, the benefits of tariffs, and the costs of tariffs, I want to talk about the monetary gain that come with tariffs. Because this was a huge talking point for Donald Trump in his interviews and his rallies. He would talk about the tax revenue that the United States government would get from the use of tariffs. But to be completely honest with you, it's not that significant. The expected tax revenue that the US government would receive from a 10% universal tariff would be $400 billion. Only 8% of what the government currently collects. So being aggressive and charging 20 or 30% tariffs wouldn't make a dent big enough in our tax revenue to warrant the inflation it would cause for us Americans. But I want to give you my opinion on all this tariff talk. These initial Trump tariffs will not happen. They just won't happen. One of two things will happen. Trump will backtrack on his initial idea and not implement what he was saying, which in my opinion would be pretty good. Or Congress, who has the real power to enact tariffs, will just shut it down. However, I do think that some of these Trump tariffs, like the more targeted Chinese tariffs, will go through. Because if a targeted tariff is going to benefit a certain sector of our economy while not harming everyone as a whole, I think it should be implemented. Because in my opinion, this will give US companies an edge over foreign competitors. Take Tesla, for example. If we put 150% tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles, they will never be able to compete with Tesla. Tesla is one of the most valuable US companies that innovates, excels, and provides thousands of jobs here in the United States. But like I said, it's a targeted tariff. It isn't a 10% sales tax on all foreign goods that us US consumers will have to pay. A couple $100 billion in tax revenue compared to inflicting more pain on the lower and middle class is just idiotic. This is a trade-off that is never ever worth it in my opinion. Let me know in the comments if you think that a 10% tariff could harm the majority of US consumers. I hope you guys got a ton of value and information out of this. Subscribe and leave a like on this video if you left this video more informed than you were before. I appreciate you for watching. Have a good one.